Okay, so we're back, and we're going to talk about, we're talking about the families of the demonic and the breakdown of them and what they have, and actually helping people to see if they can agree or find out if they can relate to any of these things that are in them, and they can see if they may have some of those traits or personality things that come up and that they're tied to, you know, defense mechanism or a stronghold, and they can realize that they have some of these things going on in them. And a lot of people think, you know, oh no, I have a demon. No, I don't. And they think it's this huge thing going on, but their whole purpose is to live in us. That's what they want to do. They want to manifest through us, and they think if they're born again.
So there's a byproduct to every demon. That's something that they carry, something that they inflict, and to discover it and say that there's a brokenness that came in that created the anger, for example. So and understanding the fruits of these will help to identify what's causing it, what's inflicting it, what's oppressing us, so we can help people get free, become whole.
Now there's a lot of these on the other places you can find out about what they say about, you know, what these spirits have in them and that. We're just trying to do an overview of as many as we can, try to get as, you know, people understand a bit what's going on. We get some other ones that, you know, there's a whole lot of, not a lot of the family we know underneath them, but they still have things going on that within the people. One that I can look at is one called the spirit of torment. And torment does just that. He torments you, and he will come in and he will remind you of your past all the time. He'll come in and he'll put, I find one of the things they like to do is they like to bring, it's like they set up a film reel in your head, and they play back all those memories, all those things that happened that tormented you, and then they'll pound you for it. You know, and say, how can you call yourself a Christian? Look what you did, you know. And they torment you, and then they'll come in and they'll just pound your memory with all those things that have happened in your past, and how you're so bound up by them, and that they, you know, because obviously there's been something that happened that you'll be able to torment. And a lot of times, if something happened as a child, and they'll come in and they'll pound you on that, and it's not even your fault, but they'll remind you of it, and they'll say, you know, if you really were loved, or if you really were a good boy or a good girl, you wouldn't, none of this stuff would have happened to you, and they just hold you in that place. And a lot of times, torment will work with guilt and shame, you know, and they'll join forces together, and then they'll work, and then all of a sudden you get other ones coming in. You get rejection and rebellion coming in on the other side, and it seems like they all seem to join forces, and they grab their hands like this, you know. So torment will come in and they'll just pound you and condemn you and remind you of how, you know, like you didn't do this, and you shouldn't have done that, and what kind of a Christian or what kind of a person are you, and it just holds you in there, and it holds you in that place of torment, really. And
would agony be under torment?
I believe agony would be one of them. Even how it just steals your joy, you know, where you can't have that place of
no peace.
And you're tormented all the time. And it's really sad that when you meet people who are under that torment, and no matter what they do, they can't seem to get free of it.
So torment would work hand in hand with like fear, like anxiety and all that, and
even oppression.
Oppression,
where they oppress you with thoughts, and a lot of it is in here and in the emotion realm. You know, where you get these thoughts constantly, you know, that just won't let you be free of things that have happened in your past. And so when you realize that torment is running on a brokenness or a defense mechanism or a mindset or a stronghold that you believe, then it's what gives that thing strength. So once you deal with that, again, that mind hold, that stronghold of that mind, so once you deal with that part of it, then it actually frees you to not be under that spirit of torment anymore, where those power that he has is
take
broken.
that legal ground away from him.
Yes, and you actually don't believe that thing anymore. You don't believe what he tells you, and you actually have God's view on it, not yours anymore, not that devil's anymore. And so you're able to walk out of that torment and not allow that thing to run you.
So how can you, I guess, release some of these things? Is it based like in a hurt or unforgiveness towards someone?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Or something that happened to you?
A lot of times it's a hurt or an injustice that's happened, or something you've done actually.
Yeah.
And torment, a lot of times, it's something that you've been a partaker of, or you think you've been a partaker of, when really you're just a victim.
You're not. Yeah,
No.
you're a victim, but they'll make you look like you're.
And how many times
your fault.
How many times I talk to people, and I'll say, "But it's not your fault." Well, they'll say, "There's no way they would have done it if it wasn't because it's me. It's because it's me, because I'm the one who's not, you know." And torment will just pound them on that, and they just think they're just not worthy. And then what rides on that? It's the biggest one. Is a lot of it is shame and guilt, and shame and guilt comes in, and shame comes in like a blanket, and it just kind of covers your back, and it just you ride around with that blanket of shame on you, and you feel guilty all the time, and that torment comes in, and it's like this thing called a double bind. You know, where you try to get free of it, and he pounds you with what you did, and then it comes that shame, and then comes that guilt, and you try to get free, and he pounds you again, and you're just bound up by that thing, and you don't know how to get away from it.
So sometimes they get you to do something like sin, and then they beat you up for doing it and say, "Hey, how could you do this?" and stuff. So
and
they,
even, and even people who are under that tormenting spirit, they try to stay away from other people because that thought, and you know, he'll tell him, "You shouldn't even be around people, you know, you shouldn't even be around anybody who does all this stuff."
That's when isolation comes in.
Yeah, so torment is and I find it seems to like a lot of inroads into people, and likes to bring them to understand that they need to be tormented, and you should be tormented for this, you know, because what
I deserve this.
Yes,
because,
and that's what they believe.
Yeah.
And they walk in it. So torment is the only one I know under torment. Really, there's a few of them, agony, but Amdusius, who was created just for other things, you know. But I don't really know his total operation. I just know he works with torment, and he likes to even do more in that area.